Hi everybody, it's Dr. Darria. I am all about simplifying health for people who just don't have the time. So if that's you, stay tuned for today's 5-minute health hack. I have my Instagrammers here and I got my Facebookers here. So today I'm going to be covering the right proteins to eat and how the right protein can make a drastic difference in your diet, losing weight, and general health. So hello Air23 Swish. Anybody who's watching, whether you're watching live, so if you're watching live, say hi, you know where you're watching in, and let me know your questions, especially when it comes to the right protein. And if you're not watching live, make sure you put the questions in there below. I will check them out later and keep an eye on them. So really quickly, I think of protein in terms of kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think it helps. So when we're talking good, some of my favorite things, and we have to put a caveat in there because my dad is a big steak and potatoes guy, so he's going to ask about that. So it is always important to know that what the studies have shown is that if you otherwise eat a pretty healthy diet and a lot of produce and not a lot of saturated fat, and you tend to get a little bit of exercise in there, then a little bit of red meat once or twice a week isn't necessarily a bad thing. So all of you steak lovers, rejoice! You can have your red meat as long as you kind of keep everything in moderation. It's good. So here's the good when it comes to protein. And hello everybody who's watching. Hello Izida. Hello 007 Pettit. Hello, and Zoe's Memories. Hi. Everybody say hi. Share this with anybody you know who's struggling with their health or with their weight or with their diet, because what we eat for protein can make such a difference. So without further ado, the good. When we're talking good for protein, I want to make sure you're getting, especially one of the best ones is fish. That fatty fish that we get, you can get, especially like a wild caught salmon, things like that are going to be great source of your omega-3s and great for many reasons, not just good for your hips, they're good for your skin and many other things, good for your heart. So your fish is going to be a great source when I think of protein. I always want you to be thinking of that. I also want you to be thinking of beans and legumes. These are a great source of protein that often some people tend to forget about. And they're not only a great source of protein, they're a great source of fiber, minerals, antioxidants. In fact, a couple of studies have shown this actually, but one in particular gave people burgers, and they were blinded. They had burgers made of beef and they had burgers made of kind of a black bean mixture. And they tested people, they gave people both burgers at different intervals, and they tested them, asked them how full they felt and taste. The black bean burger, people said rated as tasting just as good as the regular burger. And then when they asked them a couple of hours after, the black bean burger kept people fuller longer. So it tastes the same, tastes like chicken, but it also keeps people fuller longer. So you're getting that fiber really good. So what I do in my family, about once a week, we have a kind of a meat-free or a low-meat meal. So that even means sometimes if I'm cooking spaghetti, I will use about half meat and then half, chickpeas or some other bean source or something to make sure that you're getting a very large amount of beans in there with your meat. So other sources of protein, nuts and seeds. Especially tree nuts and walnuts 5 times a week have been shown to really be beneficial for your health. Now be careful here. It is really easy to overdo it on the nuts. You got to watch it. Keep it to a serving or so. But nuts and seeds are great. And then also chicken, especially white meat chicken is great. If you have dark meat, take off the skin. And then also, last on my favorite list for protein are grain-based products, sometimes soy-based if you're vegan. So we're talking quinoa, tempeh, a lot of other things like that can give you a good source of protein if you are going vegan. Now that's my good. And I don't call them my bad. There's the not as good in terms of protein. So here is a couple others that sometimes people will argue about. So eggs can sometimes be on the fence. If you're talking just egg whites, those probably fall under the very good. If you're talking a lot with egg yolks, those tend to sometimes fall into the not as great category, especially part of the problem that we have when people eat eggs is they tend to eat them in an omelet. And they're eating them with ham and sausage and cheese and butter on your biscuit. It's like, well, the eggs weren't so much a problem, y'all. It was everything else you ate with it. So eggs themselves can be a really great source of protein, especially an egg white. Be careful with what else you put with it. And if you're having it with the egg yolk, that's okay every once in a while. Stick to about 1 egg yolk tops, and because that does have good vitamin B12 and vitamin D and other things. Just don't go overboard. You don't want like 5 egg yolks in a given day. It would be a little too much, okay? And then also on the okay, but not necessarily dairy. So some people are sensitive to dairy, some people are not. If you look at the longest living communities in the world, Okinawa is one of them. They don't have much dairy. On the other hand, Sardinia is another, Italy, and they have cheese and other things. So dairy can be, in some communities, they don't have any. It goes to say that essentially dairy isn't, we don't have to have it, but if you like it, you can have it in small amounts. That's okay. If you like a Greek yogurt, that's great for a source of protein. That's perfect. For me, I'm really digging some almond yogurts right now. I'm having, there's Kite Hill has a good one, and then Lava has a good one that I found that I didn't feel like had too much sugar, because most of the yogurts I look at, they have so much sugar added into them. So I really like Kite Hill and I like Lava in terms of nut-based yogurts. And then also on this list is lean meats. So again, you can have red meat. That is okay. 1 to 2 times a week when you otherwise have a pretty decent diet, that is fine. When you do have red meat, I would say stick to, you want to have grass-fed, especially when it comes to beef, you want to have grass-fed. That has been found to have higher amounts of omega-3s, which are the good fats that you want. So stick to grass-fed. That actually does truly make a difference. And you want to have ones that are obviously hormone-free and antibiotic-free. We don't want those. Those are just not good for our system. They're not good for the environment either. So, and then of course, pork falls in there. You can 1 or 2 times a week. That's okay. So those are my good and not so good. And then I have the bad and the ugly that I really want you to try to steer more clear of. So processed meats. So these are the kind that have nitrates added to them, sausages, bacon, hot dogs. They often have nitrates or nitrites added to them. Don't love them. So you really want to be a little bit more careful with how much of those you're eating. Those have been shown to be carcinogenic, be tied to a variety of different cancers. So you want to watch out for those when we're talking meats. Of course, you want to watch out for like anything fried with lots of heavy fried in the chicken and breaded. Fried and breaded are really 2 really bad ways to turn otherwise good meat into not so good meat. So watch those. Great ways to cook them. You can roast them, grilling. All of those are broiling are great ways to do it. Great ways to cook a meat without adding too much fat and all. With my family, we love to have salmon, and we just sprinkle pour some balsamic vinegar on there. Roast it for 20 minutes and then just broil really quickly for about a minute or 2. It'll just put a nice little crust on it. Your salmon is done. It takes next to no work. So there's your protein. You got it. We will keep covering. Y'all know I cover everything in these little 5-minute health hacks. I wanted to hop on and talk about that today. Let me know what else you want to talk about. Check out davidanddarria.com. That's the webinar that I did with David Kirsch. We're doing some really cool things to help break through obstacles that have kept all of us stuck in our health routines and those bad cycles in the past that have kept us from breaking through to have the health success that we want. So again, you guys, let me know. Share this with anybody struggling with their health or their weight. Let me know what else you want me to talk about in a future one, and I will see you next time. Bye.